What does stitching mean? Stitching is a link made by drawing a thread through material by means of a needle. A loop of yarn formed around an implement used in knotting, crochet, etc., a particular method of stitching or shape of a stitch. We will be looking closer at embroidery stitches, but it's good to understand some differences in the word stitch or stitches. 1. Stitching the verb means to work upon, join, mend, or fasten with, or as if with stitches or sew, often followed by together. Or, from a surface design understanding, stitching means to ornament or embellish. Different kinds of stitches include structural stitches, or stitches that connect materials, and surface stitches that create visual designs on a material. So we can see here in our list, we have different types of structural stitches, like sewing, piecing, quilting, applique, darning. And we have surface stitches, which are embroidery, cross-stitch, beading, or furrowing. Moving past our definition of stitches, we start to consider what our first project in class will be, which is an embroidery project, thinking about contemporary icons. What does iconography mean? Iconography is subject matter in visual art, often adhering to particular conventions of artistic representation and imbued with symbolic meanings. What does iconic mean? Iconic means having the character of an icon, i.e., an important and enduring symbol, an object of great attention and devotion. What is an icon? The use of making of icons entered Russia following its conversion to Orthodox Christianity in 988 AD. As a general rule, these icons strictly followed models and formulas followed by Byzantine art, led from the capital of Constantinople. As time passed, the Russians widened the vocabulary of types and styles far beyond anything found elsewhere in the Orthodox world. Russian icons are typically paintings on wood, often small, though some in churches and monasteries may be much larger. Some Russian icons were made of copper. Many religious homes in Russia have icons displayed. What is an idol? An idol is an image used as an object of worship, one that is adored, often blindly or excessively. This is a piece by Stasia Yapanis. Stasia is a Chicago-based artist who is interdisciplinary, educator, and a writer. She explores the relationship between repetition, desire, suffering, and impermanence in cross-stitch embroideries, remixing videos, temporary collages, and improvised sculptural installations. This is a piece from her series, Everybody Hurts. About this series, Stasia states, "The embroideries in this series are reproductions of television screen captures. The experiences of sadness, guilt, terror, and hopelessness are frozen on the faces of the fictional characters, opening them up to a voyeuristic inspection of pain. The act of cross-stitching further cements these endless moments of torment for our viewing pleasure/discomfort. To slowly reproduce a single moment from a time-based medium by hand is an act of contemplation and commemoration." Stasia's cross-stitch images turned fictional characters and fictional moments into icons. What happens when you isolate a moment in your life as iconic? These are moments by Daryl Morris, or in Daryl Morris's work, in which he creates embroideries. Morris's work has its origins in storytelling. Growing up in Appalachia, he saw lots of arts and crafts, lawn art, and explicit religious art. As a young child, he wanted to be a cartoonist. He wanted to create his own world. Now he feels like a reporter of sorts, reporting events from his personal and public life. He reports on things witnessed or experienced using techniques and materials that come from and integrate into his daily life. The majority of his work reflects on how people present themselves to the world and how they interact with others, sort of dull and odd slices of life. His work deals with social issues, gender stereotyping, misuse of authority, economic class, child abuse, and aging. How can places be icons? In Peter Crawley's work, he stitches architectural sites and other corporate logos. Peter is a trained and practicing product designer. He is a senior designer at a small London-based product design consultancy. His stitching illustrations have been heavily influenced by his keen and constant developing interest in design, geometry, architecture, and public structures. A quote from Peter: "Thinking about it, the illustrations owe a lot of things like technical drawings and traditional drafting techniques, but combine media and styles not commonly associated with each other. The illustrations tend to be quite minimal and accurate, not the normal subject matter for the chosen media. How can a site be an icon? What might a place mean to you, and how can you reveal the feeling through your embroidery?" For your embroidery project, or the first project in class, you'll be working with hand embroidery to construct a portrait of any one thing, place you consider to be an icon. Consider how ideas of celebrity throughout history have changed society's perception of what is sacred. You must use at least 20 different types of stitches in this embroidery. It should be no larger than 24 inches by 24 inches, and no smaller than 12 inches by 12 inches. Any materials can be used.